basically is the closing prices of the share every moment, and it is like joined by a line, and this is how the prices move, right? Approximately this is how the prices are moving. So now, as a trader, as an investor, what you have to do in the market, or anyone has to do in the market, he has to buy at a low price, right? He has to buy at a low price and sell at a high price. That is it, right? You don't have to do anything else. You have to do just this. Sounds pretty straightforward, but it's very difficult, right? Because psychology comes into play, your behavior comes into play, the volatility, everything in the market comes into play, and it makes it difficult to do this simple thing. And each one of us who is dealing into stock markets want to do this, or vice versa. They want to sell at a higher price and buy at a lower price. It's that simple. There's nothing complicated, right? That is how you make business you make profit in a simple business also. Let's say I am selling, I take the example, let's say I am selling mask. Let's say I'm manufacturing it, somebody is manufacturing it, he is giving to me at 10 rupees, I am selling it at 15 rupees, I am making the profit of 5. Now what I am doing is I am buying at a low price and selling at a high price. That is what every business do, and this is also, you should treat it like a business. And when you are doing it as a business, you have to ensure that you have the knowledge. Otherwise, if you just jump into it without knowledge, without training, without learning, you will lose money, right? That is for sure. Now, let us move ahead and see how you can do that, right? So there's equity research that I will talk about. Before I move forward, I'll just check if there are any questions that I should answer. Let's see. By the research, let's say, we will talk about the research part later. So let's say prices, this is Reliance Industries price chart. Let's say prices went up, the news came and it started going down. And here you decide that you have to buy Reliance Industries at a price of 1200, and you think prices can go to 1500. So you will make a profit of 300 per share. So you want to invest into the share. But right now the prices are somewhere around 1250, 1260 or 1270, right? So you will have to wait. You will have to wait if the prices comes to 1200. Now there are two possibilities. Either the prices comes to 200, which happened in this case, or the prices do not come and they start going up, right? So you have to take a decision then whether you have to then buy it for 1300 here, or you keep on waiting that the prices will come down to 1200. That's as per your research. So you have to buy at a lower price and sell at a higher price, and for that you will do research. Now whenever the prices comes to 1200, you buy that, right? And suppose you have bought at 1200, but then prices still continues to go down. So you have to decide that till what point I will keep that particular share. It's like a discount sale that happens. Let's assume a shop wherein his stuff is not getting sold, right? What happens is they roll out discount offers. You would have heard about end of season sales in for apparels, right? So you go and buy, let's say, a pair of jeans or a t-shirt, right? And there's an end of season sale. Why that happens is because there's not enough demand. People are not liking the design. The stock is not getting sold. That's why the shopkeeper is ready to sell it at a discount so that people buy that. Now the same thing will happen with your purchase. If the stock is not going up, you will think if it goes below 1100, let's say, I will sell it off, because then my initial thought that the prices will go from 1200 to 1500 is still wrong, and I will sell it at 1100 and get out. So I will limit my losses so that my losses do not, suppose it goes to 500, I will have a lot of losses, right? So I invest at 1200. If it goes to 1100, I will sell. So that means I will make a loss of 100 rupees if it goes there. If it doesn't go and if it goes up, I will make a profit of 400 rupees because I will sell at 1500 rupees, right? So Now, suppose you buy, let's say I buy 20 shares of Reliance or 10 shares of Reliance at 1200 rupees, right? How much is that? 12,000 rupees I invested, right? In 10 shares. It goes to 1500. I'll make a profit of 4,000 or 3,000 rupees, sorry, because 300 points difference. And if it goes to 1100, I'll make 1,000 rupees loss. So what is my risk? Risk is of 100 rupees. What is my reward? Is of 300 rupees, right? So here is the concept that comes, wherein there is an entry price that you have. There is a stop loss price, which basically means if the prices go below it, I will sell it in loss. And if my target is hit, I will make a profit. Now, nothing is hard and fast that if I have decided I have to buy at 1200, I will buy at 1200 only. Suppose it comes till 1210 rupees and starts to go back up, you can buy at 1212, 10 rupees also, 1220 rupees also. Likewise, if stop loss you initially decided at 1100, but later on, let's say prices comes here, you can modify your stop loss to, let's say, 1300 rupees. That means from here, if the prices falls below, I will sell here now. And when the prices comes here, let's say you think that it might further go up, so you might keep a target even further higher. So you can keep on modifying your thought process as per your research. So your research is not one time, it's a continuous activity. Okay. I guess there are no questions. Either I am not. What we learned in this slide is we have to buy at a low price, sell at a high price. There is an entry price that I have to decide. There is a stop loss that I have to decide. There is a target that I have to decide, and everything is changeable as per your research. So what is most important is research, right? You have to do the research and come up with that. So one of the question that has come up is what is DII and FII? Sorry, I have been using that. DII is domestic institutional investor. FII are foreign institutional investor. What it means is DII, you can assume mutual funds companies, LIC of India, they invest into the market. So whoever invests into the market as an institution, as a company, and their volume is pretty high, that is the amount of money and the amount of shares that they buy or sell is very huge. See, we will buy 10 shares, 20 shares. These guys buy 10 lakh shares, 20 lakh shares, right? So they basically, whenever they will buy, there would be a good demand that comes into the market, and whenever they will sell, a good selling comes into the market, right? So these are big players, FIIs, DIIs, these are institutions. FIIs are foreign institution investors, so anybody outside India, if they are investing into India. DIIs are Indian companies, Indian institutions. Okay, so let's move forward. Okay, I guess, sir, if we know that the price is below 1200, we can wait for the price to go up without selling it, right? Yes, it's up to you. It's your strategy, and I will come to it. It's your strategy that whether you have to buy or keep it for long term, or sell it and buy it again. So that's a part of strategy. There's no hard and fast rule that you have to keep a stop loss, right? Stop loss, again, I do not keep a lot of stop loss. I keep it for trading. For investing, I do not keep. But stop loss can be in terms of price. See, I'm not getting into the intermediate or advanced topics. Stop loss cannot be just in the terms of price. That's what I mentioned. I cannot decide that I will sell it for 1100 rupees. But there's some point that I have to decide. Let's say in the case of Yes Bank, who already knows, Tata Motors, previously there were companies like Suzlon and Unitech. See, you will read a lot in books. Those are good read, but practically I am telling you practical aspects. If you keep on holding a stock, assuming it will go someday up, right? Eventually there should be something good in the company. So if something bad is happening, you are seeing the company is making losses, or the promoters have had a fraud, don't keep on buying. I have many people who asked me, should I buy Idea Vodafone? Should I buy Idea Vodafone? They are buying from 30 rupees and right now it's somewhere around 2-3 rupees. I don't know what the exact price is. See, so there has to be a stop loss whether you are an investor or you are a trader. Stop loss should not be in terms of price, but it should be in at least in the terms of the research part. So if the company starts making losses, I will exit and something of that sort. Okay. Now, this again slide has been covered. I will not ponder on it again and again. Here there are prerequisites of from the operational stuff. There is research that you have to do. There is tracking that you have to do. You have to actually buy and sell and then optimize. So even if you go for a job or an internship or anywhere in the market, you will be expected to do something in this whole life cycle. Whether you will be doing sales job in this, wherein you are selling accounts, research and whatnot, right? Which most of the people go, which advisory jobs, wherein you go to clients, you tell them whether you have to open an account with us, what are the benefits and all those stuff. So you wanted to do the research part, but most of you get into the selling part. Why that happens is because you do not have practical exposure, and that's what I am trying to bridge. I am trying to bridge that gap for you guys so that you have better practical things when you go for an interview or you meet anyone, you know a lot of practical things, and that person might consider you for a research role or a better role than a sales role, right? Sales role should be for sales and marketing guys, not for finance guys. Finance guys should go into research part, right? That's what I'm trying to do. Okay. So now moving forward, I will talk about some basic common terminologies. Somebody has asked, is there any lock-in period coming into picture? No. I will talk about it. You can buy a share, sell a share within a few seconds also. There's no lock-in. You can buy today, you can buy tomorrow, you can sell tomorrow, you can buy today, you can sell today itself, you can buy today, sell after 50 years also. So there's no obligation that you have to do in a normal scenario. Okay. If we buy stocks of a company and the company crashes, what will happen to our stocks that we purchased? See, stocks will be with you, the prices will go down. So if you have to exit, you have to sell at a lower price. That risk is always there, right? Even with FIIs, DIIs, they also have that risk. If they buy Yes Bank, they bought it for 400 and Yes Bank goes to 200, it can continue to go down. That's why I mentioned about stop loss. Why stop loss is important. As an investor, you might not have a stop loss considering the fact that the company is pretty strong. You are very confident about the company. You are pretty confident. If you are hopeful that the company will do good, the time you get hopeful, exit from the stock. Okay. Somebody is asking me for PVR. See, this is not from an investment perspective. I can give you views outside this webinar, but this is from a learning perspective. I am not giving views on a stock here. Okay. Common terminologies. So you would have heard a lot of things. Some people might be, I know some management students who want to get into management studies, start reading Economic Times, and there are some terminologies that they get confused on. So I will get onto it. There I've taken 7 or 8 of them and tried to explain it to you. Shares, equity, they are basically used interchangeably, right? And equity basically means the ownership in the company, right? I told you in the example of the shopkeeper, what happens when you have a shopkeeper and he wants to sell the things, and he wants to give the ownership to the company. So that is the equity, right? And equity unit is shares. So how do I define that equity quantitatively? Is by the number of shares. Okay, so you buy shares, in turn you are buying equity, right? Blue chip stocks. Now blue chip stock is any stock which is a well established company, which everyone knows about. It's well known, it's pretty big in size, and as a stable performance for the past many years, or maybe at least for 10-15 years, right? And the reputation of the company is pretty good. So companies like Maruti Suzuki, Reliance Industries, Britannia, or what other companies, I mean there are many companies out there which are large blue chip stocks, ICICI Bank, SBI. So all these stocks are blue chip stocks. Now, how you would have heard market cap, market capitalization, and it is one of the basic term that is used. So market capitalization is basically the value of a company from a share market perspective. So let's say there are 100 shares of a company which is there in the market, total 100 shares, owners could be many, like 10 people hold that or other people's hold that. So total number of shares in the market that are there for the company is 100. I mean total shares that are there, and the market price of the company that is there is let's say 10 rupees. So what is the total value of the company as per stock market valuation is 10 rupees into 100 number of shares, that is 1000 rupees. So if anyone wants to buy the entire company, they can buy it for 1000 rupees, right? So that is the market capitalization of the company. It basically helps you understand what is the size of the company, and you can do a comparison. And definitely that is not a very objective sort of valuation. Definitely market cap will move as the share prices move every second, every minute. The market capitalization will also change. So that's why you cannot say that this is the valuation of the company, but then at any point of time, what is the approximate market cap, you will get an idea, right? Now generally market cap you can compare. There are large cap companies, mid cap companies, small cap companies that you would have heard. Any company which has 20,000 crore plus of market cap is termed as large cap. Again, there is no hard and fast definition, but these are general acceptable terminologies or the guidelines, I would say. 5,000 to 20,000 crore market cap is called a mid cap company. Less than 5,000 is a small cap company. Again, large cap companies would be generally blue chip stocks. So blue chip stocks would be a part of the large cap companies, because they are pretty big, right? Now, what is a bull market or a bullish thing? You would have heard bulls come into picture and bullish views and all those things. See, if I am expecting prices to go up, I am bullish. If I am having positive sentiment about the economy, about the company, I am bullish. So that is called bullish or a bull market and stuff. Clearly, right now when Corona is there, we don't have bullish views, right? Everyone has bearish views wherein negativity is there. Environment is not that, the sentiments are not that good. Prices are falling, right? Overall. So it's a bearish market, which is the opposite of a bullish market, wherein you have negative market sentiments and the prices overall are going down. Okay. Okay. Now somebody asked me which investment is more profitable, short term or long term. I will answer that. I have a slide on it, investing versus trading. It will hopefully get answered for you. Somebody is asking me on apps. There are many apps in the stock market. Again, guys, as I said, this is a little out of scope here. You can ask me offline onto brokers, apps, and all those things. Okay. So what is a dividend? So let's say I hold a share of a company. Now the company is making profit, right? And I am the owner in the company. So I should get the profits into my bank account because the company is making profits. So the company management decides that, let's say, out of 100 rupees, they are making, they have made a total profit of 100 rupees and they need 20 rupees to for some business need. So they will retain 20 rupees back and give 80 rupees as dividend to all the owners of the company. So whatever is your percentage ownership in the company, in that ratio, you will receive the profits. So that distribution of profits to the shareholders is called dividend. So companies generally announce dividends in their yearly results, whenever they come up with their yearly results, sometimes they also come up with 6 month or quarterly, during their quarterly results, they come up with interim dividends. So that is a profit sharing. Whatever profits the company has made, they share it with the investors. Now Nifty and Sensex, see, these are index. These are calculated basis of a formula. I'll not get into the formula. You can Google it. You will get it. It's not that important. What is important is Nifty is constructed in Nifty value is arrived by the weighted average of 50 companies, top 50 companies by market capitalization, right? And Sensex is calculated basis of top 30 companies. There is NSE, BSE. I have given that introduction in the video. You can watch that. It is basically an index which is giving you an idea as to where the overall market is. So suppose there are some 4,000 odd companies in the stock market that are there listed in the stock exchanges, right? So some of shares might be going up, some of the shares might be going down. Now what will how, if somebody asks you how is share market doing, so somebody comes to me and say, Neeraj, how is share market doing? So I can't say, see, these 30 companies are doing good, these 50 companies are doing bad, there's 60 other, the rest of the companies are in a sideways fashion. Nobody will understand what I am telling. So for that, for a general understanding of how market is doing, there is a indicator as to a barometer sort of thing as to how the overall market is doing. That is calculated basis of top 50 companies or top 30 companies for Nifty and Sensex respectively. So that will give me a fair idea as to how the overall market is doing. So if Nifty is going up, my assumption would be the overall market is going up. If Nifty is going down, my assumption is most of the companies are going down. So that is how it is there. Then there are many other index also. There are sector based index, pharma stocks based index, infrastructure index, banking index. So there are many indexes. And then there are mid cap index. So all the companies that are there in the mid cap, that in the small cap. So all those index are there. You can get into the details and see what each of it is doing. Okay, I took it as, see, these are all a little theoretical aspects, so I am taking it a little quickly. You can go through these concepts, Google it, you will get it, right? These are not, and you will also read, learn these in your subjects. So therefore I have gone a little quickly onto it. Now, investing versus trading. So people are asking me, right, whether I should do small, short term, long term. So I hope this slide will basically answer those queries for you. Somebody has asked me, can a share price be zero or negative? Yes, it can go to zero. When it goes to zero is basically the trading stops in the company. It has never gone into negative. I guess this question is coming from crude oil prices going negative. You can watch my video on my YouTube channel for that. You will get an answer. So it was not the crude price that went zero. It was the derivatives offset. So, okay. So investing versus trading. See, investor is someone who is buying into the stock. See, this is again a concept which is a psychology, right? There's no hard and fast definition, but as per me, investor is someone who believes in the company and he wants to invest into the company from the perspective of becoming an owner in the company, right? He is not looking for short-term price movements or whatever happens in the company. He is looking from a very long-term perspective. Again, as I said, he will sell the stock. See, this will answer the question of the Peter Lynch reference that was given. See, he will sell the stock when there is a substantial change in the company. So tomorrow, if the company, I analyze that the company is pretty good, it's doing good, promoters are good, but tomorrow I understand that there was some fraud in the company. So there has to be a stop loss that I will have, not in terms of the price, but in terms of the performance of the company, so that if something goes wrong, I will sell the company. Unfortunately, what happens is investors rather average it down. So again, it's a separate topic. We can cover it later. Okay, so This is investing, and then types of investors are value investor and growth investor. I will not get into that details, will take a lot of time, but then this is investing. Trading, on the other end, trader does not believe in the company. He is not concerned whether the company will do good or not. He wants to take advantage of short-term price movements. He doesn't look for long-term holding, and he's just looking for movements basis of that. So he wants to buy at a low price, sell at a high price. That's it. He is not invest to earn from dividends. He is not looking for holding the company for a long term, right? Again, there are different types of traders. Scalping trader will buy and sell within a matter of few seconds or few minutes. Intraday trader will sell from a few minutes to a few hours. Swing trader will keep it for a few hours to a few days. Positional traders will keep it from a few days to a few weeks time frame, right? Now somebody asked me which is more profitable, short term or long term. See, ideally everything is profitable, everything should be good. You cannot compare that. But what you will hear in the market and you will hear from people is trading is very risky, nobody earns, it's wrong and stuff. I will tell you why that personal psychology is there. See, trading is definitely more riskier. Investing is less riskier. Why it is so? Because investing is easy, trading is difficult. Therefore, you should start as an investor, understand the market, do research, learn research, and then become a trader if you want to become, right? So you start from here to here, right? It happens vice versa in the market. People, especially students and young working professionals who starts earning, they start from intraday trading. So they start from here, then they move to this, and then eventually they move to this. So why they move? Because they make losses here, then they make loss here, and then they come here, and this doesn't guarantee you will have profit, right? But then you are just delaying the losses. You are becoming an investor. That is what happens. Obviously, for trading, you should have the right knowledge, you should have the right skills, you should be equipped with all those things, and then only you can make profits into trading. See, suppose you are an engineer, you have studied 4 years into your engineering and then you are going into the industry and working. If you are an IT professional, you have learned programming languages and therefore you are doing. You have invested efforts, you have invested time, you have invested money into learning that, and then only you are working on that field. Unfortunately for stock markets, what happens is one fine day you decide that I want to start trading. You will open a demat or trading account. You will put in money and start doing whatever you will hear from these news and stuff. As I told you, never hear news, never do news based trading or investing. Do your own research or take professional services, right? What happens? You lose money and then you think trading is bad, right? That is not the right picture because you are starting off with a wrong start. You invest some time. I'm not saying you invest money into learning. There are a lot of free resources. I am teaching you free of cost here, right? Listen to it. You can attend this program again, but then learn about how research is done, learn about how trading is done, and then get into it, right? And then again have that risk appetite. That losses can still happen. Even if you learn, losses can happen, but the chances are widely reduced. So then you can get into profits. Therefore, people miss all these part and starts to do this. They do it, lose a certain amount of money, and then say trading is very bad. We should not do that, right? My general advice is also that you should not do trading. I myself don't do a lot of this, right? Because it takes a lot of time. I am usually busy, right? So I do it whenever I am free. I don't do a lot of this. I do this mostly, and I give services on this, and I do this, right? So don't jump into things is my advice here. To your original question, there is nothing right or wrong. Investing is better or trading is better. Both are good. It's like let me explain it in different terms. If you see cricket, there is Rohit Sharma, who is opener, who is who scores at a pretty fast pace. There is Kohli, who is the captain now, so he will play with a different style. He will be more stabilized. He will try to keep his wicket. And then there was Dhoni, right, who will come at the end and he will like want to hit and quick score quickly, right? So all of them have their own pros and cons. They have their own style of batting, right? So you cannot compare, you cannot say Kohli, like obviously you can say Kohli is better than this or that, you will have personal opinions, but then you can't definitely say that if Kohli comes to open, he will do better, or if Rohit Sharma goes as a pinch hitter, he will do better, or likewise, right? Everyone has their own style, everyone has their own benefits and demerits. So likewise is for investing and trading. So all of these are different players, right? No one is better or worse than the other, but then you have to see what suits your personality and your style of investing or trading. Likewise, you should go for it. As I mentioned, I am not a lot of this, right? It doesn't suit my style. So I am more of this and this, right? Though I do this, but then I don't do in full-fledged, right? So you have to understand, and again that will come under the psychology part. I will come up with a mentorship program where I will tell you, understand what you are doing, how you are doing, and what is going wrong, right? So understanding that is more important. No, so somebody asked me, is there any option that we need to opt that we are buying stocks like short term or long term? If not, how does scalping trader and intraday trader faces losses? As a trader, they won't ever sell their stock if loss while they can wait. See, that is the whole problem. You can't wait on a losing. If you are a trader, you have to have a stop loss. See, if you thought that stop losses are a part of trading, you will never have all profits. You will never have situation where all of your trades will go into profits. The sooner you accept the fact, the better it is for you. Otherwise, you will continue to make losses. What happens is when you get into profits, you exit early. When there are losses, you think you will now sell tomorrow. Now you will keep it for a week. That's what I said. You started as a scalping trader, you got it into an intraday trader because you were in losses. You get into a swing trader because you are in further losses. You get into a swing trader because you have further losses. You will say, okay, I will. And then even if after 2-3 months the position is in on a loss, you will say, I will keep it for 2-3 years. I will become an investor into the stock. I believe in the company, right? So with whatever process you started with whatever was your thought process, you should stick to that and invest or trade basis of that. Again, it is a part of psychology. I can give some mentorship on this going forward. But this is my personal advice would be, don't get into this. If you start with a intraday trader, close your trades if you are in loss, or there could be some exceptions once or twice, but then if it's further going into loss, exit it. Okay. There is no option as long as you have money. I'm not covering the leveraging part. So in intraday, you can leverage. So if I have 100 rupees, I can buy for 500 rupees. Then definitely I cannot hold it for long term because I don't have 500 rupees. I have just 100 rupees. So all those things comes into picture. We can cover it offline, guys. Okay. So now I will come into equity research. As to what is equity research, I told you about this is all you have to do and the process. You have to identify what you are. So we have covered all these things. At the end of the day, equity research is the most sought after finance profile, is the most important stuff. Why it is a most sought after profile in finance, stock market, investments field is because that is the crux of investments. And unfortunately, that is the most ignored aspect in retail investors. When I say retail investors, I mean people like you and me who invest into the market as individuals and with a small amount and with small targets and stuff. Okay. We ignore research. What we do is we basically hear someone's giving us some advice. These days I have seen there are Facebook groups wherein people will ask, should I buy DLF? Should I buy this? Guys, stop doing this. The sooner you stop doing this, the better it would be for you. If you are investing on someone else advice, what will happen is the other person might change his views. As I told you, research, I'm not saying the other person is giving you wrong views. He might be giving you right views, but then what will happen is he will ask you, okay, buy DLF. Now tomorrow, as I told you, research is a continuous process. After 2 weeks, his thought process changes and he's like, DLF is not going to go do good and let me sell. He will sell the shares, but he will not remember that he has told you to buy, so he should inform you, and he's not obliged to inform you, right? So you will not get that news, and you will continue to hold DLF and it will go down, 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 right? So now, one is you should have your basic own capability to do research and focus on it. So you should invest your time, efforts, money into learning, right? Professional learning, and then get into it. Second is take professional services otherwise, right? Don't get into that. Don't do any, it's better to keep your money into a fixed deposit than to invest into market without research. I am telling you, you guys can ask people around you. If you are doing it without research, you will be more prone to losses. Okay, so what is equity research? Equity research is basically anything that helps you in arriving at a buy, sell, hold decision making. So if I have to buy Reliance, at what price do I buy? How much do I buy? All these things comes into the research part. Now, it is the most important aspect, as I told you. Therefore, there are a lot of jobs into this opportunity also, because FIIs, GIIs that I told you, right? So there would be companies like Goldman Sachs who will hire you for research roles. There would be companies like Edelweiss. There would be companies like ICICI. They will hire you for these kind of roles. Why? Because those are most important, right? They don't do investing without research. So why should you do, right? So that's important for you also. And unfortunately, as I said, that's the most ignored aspect. People think that's a useless activity. Why should I do it? And therefore they think they lose money, right? So how you can do equity research? You can either do by a fundamental analysis or you can do it by a technical analysis. Now I will talk about fundamental analysis and then quickly take into technical analysis. Again, guys, if you are thinking you already know all of this, there might be some value add. So just stay tuned. Another thing is, 1 second, I will just